Hello, everybody, and welcome back to M&J Games. I am Michael, and for the first part of this episode, instead of showing you what I've completed for most of it, because there's not too much that's different right now, I wanted to go ahead and kind of give you a rundown on what my kind of idea or plan is. As you can see, kind of changed up the pathing a little bit. So once you enter, and I believe I'm going to leave this planner here that Jasmine made, that's really nice. If I don't leave it there, I'll put it somewhere else. But I might put a carousel there, like the Venetian carousel, the kind of small one. But then you come around here, and you have then this whatchamacallit, right? And kind of like at Cedar Point, since I modeled the beginning off of Cedar Point, but I have this kind of turning because it allows for a little bit more space going diagonally like that instead of straight back. I've also placed this path here, which kind of represents what's going to be part of the maintenance road and stuff. So as you can see here at the back, there's just a little bit of space. And I've also kind of laid out potential rides. Now, this is not set in stone. This is just kind of my idea. So my idea is a small family wooden coaster, which, that might change because in my last park I had a family wooden coaster. So, that might change. I'll have to think about that one. But the idea is to have a small family wooden coaster kind of right here on the edge potentially. And so somewhere along here, the path would come this way. And so you'd have this family wooden coaster backed up by this one. Then we have the vector, and the reason why I'm doing this one is because I might try to recreate with the custom supports and everything one of those like Tempesto and stuff, because that is a very, very good easy ride to make. Or this is potentially a good spot for me to use the Batman clone recreation that I did that I've yet to use. Something like that, because it would fit. Oh, hold on. I don't know why I did that. But because it takes up a small amount of space, right? Comparatively speaking to the other parts. For example, let's just set that there. It's small. I mean, it's a fairly tall coaster, but in terms of the amount of space it takes up, it doesn't take up that much. Now, I might theme it differently than Batman, so that I don't have to theme Gotham City around it or something. Because that was kind of something that was kind of haunting me before, but we'll see. But this launch vector, you can kind of recreate that part of it. I think that's the launch vector, yeah. Or no, not vector. What's it called? Torque. Oh gosh, I've been saying vector. I'm going to say torque. Now back here would be a smaller RMC, kind of running along in this area. Okay, kind of on the back portion of it. Then back here, like, I've never done a mine train. So, like, I really do want to challenge myself and create this kind of, not runaway mountain style, but, like with hills, a little bit of hills and stuff like that, like man-made hills. So it's not like it's fabricated with rocks and stuff like that. Then potentially an SLC, kind of like Raptor, but, a different layout and stuff, kind of going near the midway a little bit. And then a dive coaster. Because I do think that for this park not having very tall coasters overall, and no, I do not consider this a tall coaster because that's a 136-foot drop. So, having a dive coaster representing the tall one could look good because those don't take up that much space in the grand scheme of things. So as I said, that's just kind of the idea. Here's some flat rides that I might want to use. And so potentially kind of the locations of where stuff could be. But as you see, this is a pretty small map. So I'm kind of, it's going to be a challenge to kind of, make everything fit and look organic. But I'm really happy with kind of the start of this so far. And this was my idea with this, is like a Fastpass building. I'm not really that happy with it yet. I do like this restroom. And then kind of having from here the other buildings kind of connect and go up this way. Or might actually have a flat ride right in here to kind of create with this little bit of awkward space before it goes this way. But yeah, so I'm going to continue building, and I will see you with the final product for this episode. Here we are at the end of the episode, and there's going to be a lot of speed build this week in terms of a lot of deleting stuff, and it's gonna be interesting trying to fit all that together. And first thing I wanted to notice as we get dropped off here by the taxi area is this little kind of covered area, which was inspired by um, Industriaplex and his hotel park. So if you haven't checked that out, you should definitely go check it out because it's an amazing build. So it's not the exact same, but it's inspired by it. And then these benches were made by Coaster Creations, I believe, or Ted07386, as he's known on PlayStation. But let's go ahead and enter the park this way. So once again, we've got this nice view. Let's actually change the time of day. There we go. This nice view of where the coaster would be flying through the entrance. And then I added, and we'll see stuff from above in a second, but I actually added some more of this to the side just to kind of give it a little bit, excuse me, a little bit more detail. So now I enter this way, and first thing you might notice coming this way is this is a little bit different to the right side. So I kind of extended it out because you've got the support here. This is where staff would go, and then you got buildings and so forth right there. Let's go ahead and go into the park, and we already talked about the chairlift. But first, let's actually look to the left side, and we're going to look at all this from above. We got a little security office with custom-made lettering. Yes, I mean, I think it's pretty good. Not perfect. I might need to level it out a little bit because the E looks a little bit lower and so forth. So I just need to level it a little bit more. But this is the security office, and there's a lot of people coming in and out of it, which I just put a hat stall in there. Maybe shouldn't have done in this one. You're not going to have as many people going into the security office, in and out of the security office. But I love this little detailing. Just the kind of look that it gives through it and stuff. A little awning is really cool. And then we got a little restroom over here. So you got men and women's restroom. And I love this tile. This is just such a good tile to use for bathrooms, which I haven't really used before. And then we got little water fountains here. Lowered, made one a little bit lower for kids and so forth. And then we've got fast lane tickets. And one thing that I saw, because I was looking at a PC park called Cedar Dominion, which I got a lot of inspiration for this area from that, which I want to tour that at some point. Who knows if I will, or if I maybe have at this point. But I saw that he used these and the other poles as kind of creating lines. I'm like, oh, that's good, because that looks more realistic than some of the fencing you would get. Because for these type of lines, it's not going to be fencing that's got a lot of vertical kind of bars and stuff. It's going to be more like this. So that's cool. Maybe lower, and I guess I didn't really need to add another one down, but overall happy with this fast lane tickets, because normally when I went to Cedar Point, for example, you're going to have a lot of people wanting to get fast passes. So it took about 10 minutes to get that. And then we've got a little gate right here, which will take you to a staff room. So I haven't done anything back here yet. I'm going to kind of wait and see how the rest of this spot turns out. And then I was going to start building on a building right here, but I'm trying to figure out how I want that to look. So I got some photos I've been looking at, some ideas. And if you're wondering, we are at 30% right now. So then we've got our first ride, the scissor. Dun, 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 dun. So we got a guest services building. Oh, another thing I want to point out, which I forgot to do this, I'll need this in episode, is this little space right here. Using that grass to kind of make it look almost like mulch. And maybe right there saying, well, it doesn't really look like mulch. But then from above it does, and once you kind of start placing stuff down with it, it will. And then you've got the little bit of fencing right there. So maybe a small tree, some bushes, a couple rocks. So you'll see what I'm talking about over here. And so I already talked about, this is kind of a staff door right here. And I just love using this Ghostbuster piece as kind of like a key card. I just think that works really well. So same style building as these kind of four. And these are going to be the only four that carry this style. So that's kind of my idea with it. And then everything else is going to be kind of its own style. And at least on this main street, we're definitely going to be ripping off of Cedar Point some, with some ideas and stuff like that. So we got guest services building. This would be like They'd be able to display images here or anything they're trying to sell, stuff like that. And then we got a locker space, which I'm really happy with how this locker section turned out. And this is not too many pieces, so I'm happy with it overall. I think this one was about 70 pieces. This one front and back was 120, 120, 120. So overall, like, I mean, this is a smaller map, so I think I can use extra pieces in certain areas. I mean, the views you already get right here of that wing coaster is just awesome. I need to make sure to not obstruct that view at all. Especially right there, like you can see bits and pieces of the ride. Really cool. You know what? Wonder if let's open the ride so we can kind of see it flying by, or test it. Not open it, but test it. No, I'm not trying to click on a building. I'm trying to click on you. There we go. All right. So not a ton more to look at in Flip Cam. I do kind of want to see the coaster going by and how that ends up looking. So let's see. Just kind of the views from this spot. I love this zoomed in camera. I might end up adjusting the coaster at some point to where it turns the other way. With how I want to do the transfer track and stuff, but we'll see. But yeah, this is just a great view as you're kind of looking towards that flat ride and seeing the coaster fly by. That's awesome. But then what I also like is right here, you can get quick little glimpses of the coaster going by as well. So that's cool. Good views throughout. I'm using some I-beams for supports and stuff like that. And once again, the custom lettering, which I've never really done before. But then here we got the queue, and it is the longest wait this line will ever have because it is the only ride in the park. So here's where it's kind of made to look a little bit more like mulch and stuff like that. And it really looks best from above when you're looking at it from that sense. But then you kind of got that fencing going around because there's going to be a little bit of backstage that's going to need to be right behind there since that's where the mid-course brake run is for that coaster. So there's going to need to be access to that. Yeah, and I like this. I still need to finish up this flooring. I thought I'd finish that up, but I didn't. Sorry about that. But this flooring is just going to go up to this edge right here. And so happy with how that's turned out. Then we got another bathroom here, so one on each side. Little space. Might do a little bit of adjustment to it. I do need to put the water fountains right there. Got a little bit of lights, and that's one thing I need to do is light up this area. But that is it for right now. So if we look at it from above, let's get this HUD off the screen. So this is what we've got so far. And I do like the entrance area, how it's turned out. And I kind of adjusted the pathing a little bit because I know it's not necessarily symmetrical on either side, and it wasn't meant to be. Just because I didn't want to have to lay down custom floor tiles for all of this area. So hopefully most of this will be able to be this natural pathing, and I can just kind of hide stuff up where need be and so forth. But as you can see there, that coloring, I'm pretty happy with the coloring and how that looks. And then over here, which once again, I need to do more realism with some of the rooftop stuff, so I'll get to that. But here's so here's what it looks like. So overall, really, really happy with it. And I know there wasn't a ton necessarily that got done compared to the first two, but it took me kind of a while to kind of work on some of these spots just because of, trying to figure out how I wanted this main kind of entrance style to look. But here's what I was talking about with with that ground kind of looking a little bit like mulch. So when you look at it from this way, it definitely looks like it could just be mulch. So this would maybe be a good spot. Like right there. I mean, that looks like mulch. That doesn't look like that brown, ugly grass. So that is it for the episode, and that is it for the third episode of Valley America. So thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you the same time next week for episode 4. Talk to y'all later.